All right, everyone, welcome back to Tennessee This Week. Conversation continuing now with Craig, Courtney, and George. Again, thank you guys for coming in again and adding your perspective to this conversation. We appreciate it. It wasn't exactly a blue wave. Democrats who have become stars on the national level, like Beto O'Rourke, lost Tuesday night. The party also lost some high-profile governor races, and Republicans kept their Senate majority, even adding some seats. But Democrats did win control of the House, setting up the prospect of clashes with the president. So let's start, and we'll just go right down the panel here. What is your big takeaway from what happened on the national scale, Craig?
Well, it was mixed results. Some for the president and some for the Democrats. Democrats obviously took control of the House, which means that they control half of the legislation. All the money bills originate in the House, so they control that now. When you look down lower levels at the state and local level, the Democrats recovered about a third of the state seats that they lost in the Obama era. So that's one thing to build on. But right now, we are still a very divided country, and it's now dividing on rural and urban areas. And you saw that in Tennessee, as Courtney mentioned, that Bredesen won the 10 largest counties, 10 most populous counties in the state, but Marsha Blackburn won the rest of the state by about 70-30. So each party is going to have to figure out their appeal to those different groups if they're going to maintain power in the future.
Courtney,
I'd have to say there was quite a blue wave. When we look at, not only did Democrats turn over the House, they flipped 7 governor's seats, they reclaimed and flipped 6 state legislatures and broke 4 supermajorities. And all of that put together with, there were about 55 candidates that President Trump either endorsed on Twitter or went and campaigned for, and 39 of them lost. That's 70% of them lost. So I would say there was a rather significant blue wave, and Democrats made up a lot of ground that if they can, and if we can sustain that momentum, it's good things for 2 years from now.
George, you're shaking your head.
Well, numerically speaking, this was a better than average result for the party in power in the White House. In Bill Clinton's first midterm, Democrats lost 54 seats in the House and 8 in the Senate. In Barack Obama's first midterm, Democrats lost 63 seats in the House and 5 in the Senate. In this one, so far I think it's Republicans lost about 27, 28 seats in the House and gained several in the Senate. And for generations, Democrats had majority governor's offices, majority state legislatures, and up until election night, they were in their worst position in 100 years. They had fallen so far. And what Democrats on the left can't accept is that this has anything to do with policy. For them, it's all about race, gender, demographics. Demographics are going to work for us. Demographics are going to help us to win. And they cannot fathom that policy resulted in this tremendous loss of Democratic political power over the last 20-plus years. And until they come face to face with that, they're going to continue to struggle. And Republicans, to the degree they're complacent, they open the door for Democrats to start knocking them off in bigger numbers.
Does bipartisanship have even a chance in these next couple of years?
Well, it depends on the approach. For example, during the Obama administration, Senator Lamar Alexander of Tennessee authored a bill that got rid of, we haven't talked about Common Core in a couple of years, have we? That's because he worked with Democrats to get a bill passed that put Common Core authority back in the states and out of the federal government. Obama signed it. That's bipartisan. Where you get caught up is you got the far left screaming, the far right screaming, and all of these people in the middle are so afraid that they're going to get knocked off in a primary because they're not pure enough. That's what's driving particularly the move away from bipartisanship.
No. The big elephant in the room here is that President Trump said yesterday, if the Democrats want to continue to investigate my actions and provide oversight and governance, then I'm not going to work with them. So that kind of threat, you can't tell House Democrats, you can't, if you do your job, I'm not going to want to work with you.
Well, I think that I think that if the Democrats go into a season full of subpoenas, investigations, and things like that, their victories will be short-lived. I think it's incumbent on the both houses to come up with some bills that work for the, and that's what I was hearing out amongst this whole election. You know, there's all this talk about things that don't matter to me. There wasn't talk of the opiate crisis. There wasn't much talk about education. There wasn't much talk about infrastructure, the things that make my drive to work take forever, and the things that are killing our children in our neighborhoods. So they want bills passed on those issues that affect their life. So if the Democrats are just subpoenaing people and trying to get tax records for the next 2 years, it won't help them much in the long run at all.
I would love to talk more about the issues, but I'm going to take a little bit of our time because today, everyone, is November 11th, Veterans Day, and we want to take a moment before we go to thank you, all of you who have served, including our own U.S. Army veteran George Korda here on the panel. Thank you so very much.
Well, thank you.
We appreciate it. Anything you want to say to everyone out there on this Veterans Day?
Well, that I never did anything. I was in almost 6 years. I never did anything remotely heroic or dangerous other than fly around with some crazy helicopter pilots. But there are people out there who did. People out there, like Tim Burchett's father, and people from Vietnam who sacrificed a lot and lost a lot. And people from the service members from the most recent wars. Mm-hmm. And that's a debt that I don't know that most Americans understand, and that is incredibly difficult to repay.
All right, George, we thank you so very much, and we want to let everyone know we are shining the spotlight on our veterans tonight with a very special, coming up this evening, a special presentation at 5 o'clock. Thank you again, everyone, and we'll see you back next week.